In this video, I'm going to show you the process of knitting this little flax pullover sweater, and you're going to be along for the ride. So here we go. It's an adventure. I've just received a package, which makes a thing I decided I wanted to do very much more real. And I'm going to try to knit a sweater. I already really like to sew, and I know how to knit it all. It's a lot different from any of the kind of knitting I have done in the past. About this sweater pattern that is supposed to be like the easiest sweater if you want to learn to knit a sweater. This is like the pattern to do. My knitting experience is all on straight needles with the little cap on the end, knitting like 2D rectangular things. This kind, which are the needle with an attached tube that keeps everything connected. And so this set has every size, basically, not every size, but every size I'm gonna need and more. And then the other kind are these double pointed needles. So they don't have the little cap on the end. And let's pull them out because you can't really see them. I mean, I barely know what I'm talking about. I'm feeling very intimidated, but also kind of excited. If you're seeing this, that means there's more to it, and I figured something out to show you, because, and if you're not seeing this, well, then you're not seeing it, but it also means that I failed, and there's nothing more to show you in this endeavor. I don't think I really went into detail about what I was doing necessarily. What I want to learn to do is to knit a really simple pullover sweater for Henry, because he's small, and I think that will make the project go quicker, which will make me feel successful. And sorry, Casey's gonna be drumming in the background, and hopefully it's not immensely distracting. The first thing you have to do, apparently, before you knit something to wear like a sweater is find out if your particular knitting matches up to the knitting in the pattern. So that has to do with like tension. Everybody holds the yarn a little tighter or looser, and the stitches will be tighter together or looser together, just based on like literally your hands and how you operate the yarn with the needle. This is what I'm talking about now, is the gauge, like a gauge swatch. So here's my gauge swatch. I knitted with the needles and the yarn recommended by the pattern to see how my knitting compared to the scale that they were expecting. And I was really lucky. Mine was exactly what it was supposed to be, so I didn't have to make another swatch. This was it. Sweater can begin. So this sweater is knitted from the top down. You start at the neckband and just work your way all the way down, and then you come back and do the sleeves. So here I'm making the neckband. You guys, look, I've made progress. I'm so excited. This is the neckband, the ribbed part, and then this is the front or back of the sweater. And this little bit that looks like this is going to be where the sleeve, kind of at a point where it doesn't make a ton of sense, but I'm just sort of trusting that if I follow the directions, I'm going to end up with something sweater shaped. One of my favorite things that I discovered about knitting is that you can take it anywhere you go. It's not like sewing where you have to be at a machine and plugged in. You can literally take it anywhere you go. These little stitch markers have become a super annoying thing. I don't know if they have to open and close for any particular reason. Mine, as I'm trying to kind of push the yarn around on the needles to get it where I need it to be, I'll accidentally kind of hit or grab one of those, and it opens it up, and then it could fall off. So I have to carefully make sure they all stay closed as I'm doing this little shuffle. And they're really they're really cheap. They just came with the needles. I didn't even know they were coming with them, but I mean, it's really nice that they're different colors, because I kind of have an idea of what's going on. Like red is my beginning point of the round and stuff, but yeah, this might be something to invest in, better better ones that don't open, so aren't so sensitive. But it's all scrunched up on the needles, so it looks kind of funny. But it's getting bigger even though it looks smaller. Sweater! It's happening! Can you believe it? I think I need to get more yarn because I only have this one thing and it definitely called for more. So I should probably do that soon so I don't like run out and get mad. Cool, right? And we need to run to Joann's because I've made so much progress on my sweater that I am running out of yarn. So I knew I would need a second skein and I'm gonna go pick that up. My order is ready for curbside. I feel really bad doing curbside orders right now because it is pouring down rain, but this is the world we live in. And then we'll come home and I'll show you that sweater progress. Got our yarn! I'm so excited. So this is just gonna continue on that sweater project. Hooray! Okay, so we're home now and I just wanted to show you the progress I've made on the sweater so far. So the sleeves you just sort of tie off and come back to them at the end. It's amazing. It's so nice how it's constructed. It is so satisfying. It just looks like a sweater already. So you can really understand what you're doing. Guys, I have a bad knitting update for you. Last night I was just knitting along and I broke my knitting needle. The part where the tube connects to the needle just snapped in the knitting and like stitches were coming off and stuff. And so I've just sort of got it like on a different knitting needle just to hold it. I've ordered another pair of size 8 circular knitting needles and I'm actually getting the metal kind this time because I think the stitches will just kind of move a little smoother and maybe I won't be tugging as much, which I think is what caused this to happen. I guess I could move on to the sleeves because I think that uses the double pointed needles. Maybe I'll look into that if I'm feeling like doing some knitting, but for now I'm just kind of waiting. And yeah, I got more yarn, which is good because this is what's left of the skein I started with. It wasn't a full skein because I used some for the swatch and I think I had just kind of like used some pieces before I started this project. So that's my knitting update. Sad day, broken needle, new one's coming Thursday, tomorrow. So shouldn't be too long of a wait. So because my needle broke down here, I decided to sew on the sleeve because you can use the double pointed needles for that. And these are really cool because instead of using all those little stitch marker colored things, you set it up so that each needle, each break in the needles is where a stitch marker would be. Did that make sense?
Makes sense to me. Is it okay if I'm in your video?
Yeah. Anyway, so I had the tools to move on to the sleeve and that's what I did today. And I got a whole sleeve done. I mean, it's a tiny sleeve, but it's a sleeve. So I'm really excited. And it's not perfect, but I learned for next time. So I guess I can move on to the next sleeve now, or I can wait till tomorrow when my needle for this part is supposed to arrive. And I think I have enough yarn to finish.
I thought you needed another.
I don't know. Exciting. New needles have arrived. I have put my new needles on where the broken needle was and knitted a little ways, and now I'm tying the new skein of yarn onto the end of the old one. So that feels like a mile marker of some kind. And I'm basically just supposed to knit until this measures from the armpit, so it's upside down, from the armpit to the end, 7 inches. So I'm obviously not quite there yet, but I think last measure was like 5.5. This hole is a mistake I made when I put the sleeve on. I know how to do better for the next one. So I'll come back to this other sleeve when I finish the body. So once this measures 7 inches, I knit a little bit of ribbing, which is kind of like what's around the neck and at the end of the sleeve. And I'll do that all the way around the bottom so it has the same little finishing touch. And I'm just like so excited. It's looking so cute. I think last time I updated you guys, I was tying on the new yarn, and now I'm just kind of measuring every time I get around to my marker to see if it's the length it should be. And I'm really close, but I think I have a little ways to go. Anyway, so I've just been knitting down and it's starting to really take shape. Sweater update. I finished the bottom, so I still need to tuck in all my little loose ends, of course, but it's full, it's done. I did the little ribbing around the bottom, and all I have left is to do this sleeve, tuck in those little ends, and it'll be a sweater. I tried to get Henry to try it on, but he wouldn't. It looks the right size. Okay guys, this is it. I'm done. It's time to cut this off, and then I need to figure out how to get these little tails kind of threaded in. I think you do that with a crochet hook, and that's it. I mean, hopefully Henry will let me put it on him and we can see if it fits. But other than seeing if it fits, it's done. And it fits, hooray! So I'm linking the pattern information down below in case anyone's interested in trying this themselves, and I highly recommend it. This is my knitting box. I like have a knitting box.